Hey everybody, I'd like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Uh, Being part Native American myself, I have mixed feelings about this holiday, but I have a lot to be thankful for. One is a grandmother that I love very much, a maternal grandmother, and I'd like to read you a very short story about her and one of my brothers. It's called The Property Line. My brother came through the back door screen at full speed with grandmother close in pursuit. I didn't know what he had done, and I did not intend to find out. I went off and stood by my grandmother's abundant azalea bushes. He ran this way and that to no avail. Grandmother was still hot on his heels. This would be a test of endurance between them, and I intended to get my money's worth from the show at a safe distance. My grandparents were helping raise us since my parents had divorced. They had deeded Mom enough land to build a small Jim Walters prefabricated house. My mom worked hard and tried to make it a home. As I watched the chase, my mind went back to the time that grandmother got her new pressure cooker by saving S&H green stamps from the grocery store. That thing worried me. I'd watch as it built up steam while grandmother turned up the eye on the stove. That lid seemed like it just wanted to come off. Then one day, its wish came true. Not long after she'd bought it, she and I were on the back porch shelling butter beans when the pressure cooker began making a louder, more rattly sound. Just as she set down her pan of beans to go check on it, we both heard an explosion from the kitchen. It seems the lid had finally worked itself loose. It came off of the pot like it had been launched by NASA. It blasted through the kitchen ceiling and landed in the backyard, almost hitting one of our dogs. My granddad patched the hole and not much else was said about it, but that dog always kept one eye to the sky from that moment on, especially when Grandmama was canning. Another time, my two brothers and I decided to put a rubber snake in the garden. We wrapped it around a squash plant and made it look as realistic as possible. Grandmother put on her bonnet and we all grabbed a bucket to fill. My brothers and I were eager to see her response to this fake snake we'd planted. We could hardly stifle our laughter as we approached the garden. We made sure Grandmother picked the correct row. All was fairly quiet and uneventful, till the precise moment Grandmother pulled back that squash plant. We were reminded, right then and there, of her Native American heritage as she let out a blood-curdling war cry and went to work on defeating her adversary. She now had to save her 3 grandboys. She used that grubbing hoe in such a way that would have made Bruce Lee proud. She whacked and stabbed at the snake till she noticed little chunks of rubber coming from it. She then realized that we were the culprits, and her war dance turned on us. Oh, I knew she was going to tear up all the squash plants in at least one of us. We scattered, but she was fast enough to catch a victim. I think that rubber snake got off lightly compared to the whipping one of us got that day. All I know is, this time it wasn't me. Once again, the thick growth of her azaleas gave me cover as I crawled beneath them and lay motionless. I was brought back to the present as my brother came running by once again, with Grandmother right behind him. They both had extremely determined looks on their faces. She was both stern and fast, a deadly combination. Now, it was youth versus experience. My brother jumped the fence surrounding our backyard and into the swampy woods. Grandmother lifted her dress enough to clear that same fence with all the grace and agility of a gazelle, losing her bonnet in the process. But I wasn't about to leave my cover to retrieve it. As they both jumped back into the yard, Grandmother stopped to pick up her bonnet, giving my brother time to catch his breath from a relatively safe distance. I could hear her yell to him, "You better catch your breath, it may be your last." This worried my brother. He decided right there to try reasoning with her. He announced to her that she couldn't bother him where he stood, since he was over the property line. She informed him that wasn't the property line, as she rushed towards him again. He took off at full speed, and I could hear him yell over his shoulder, "Where's the property line?" They say that my brother was clocked doing 73 miles an hour as he crossed that county line. Thank God grandmother was only doing 72. Hope you enjoyed that story, and I would like for you to subscribe to our channel, please, if you would. Have a nice day.